Welcome back to another community spotlight here at MeetEdgar, and we're really lucky to be joined today by Greg Elliott, who runs a consultant firm and uses MeetEdgar as a software that she's managing multiple clients underneath one MeetEdgar subscription. And we're going to talk to her a little bit about some of the workflow she uses and some of her content creating processes today. So I'll pass it on over here so she can introduce herself first, and then we'll jump into the questions.
Hi, my name's Greg Elliott, and my business online is kgregconsulting.com. And I named my business after my first name, Greg, because most people remember it after they meet me because it's kind of unusual. And what I do is what I call conservation communications. So all of my clients are either state or federal agencies or nonprofits that do natural resource conservation work, especially focused on wildlife and habitat. And I'm hoping that someday I might get a for-profit business as a client, but you never know. And I've been using MeetEdgar, I was told, I guess, since almost the very beginning. I discovered MeetEdgar in 2017 because I do communications. You might be surprised that I just started doing communications for my clients in 2017, social, I mean. But I started having to do more of it, and it became a little bit of a burden, because if you're doing social by yourself all the time, it's constantly, you have to do it multiple times a day at different times. And there's all this research about how if you interrupt your flow of concentration, it can take 20 minutes to get back on track. And that was definitely something I didn't want to deal with. So I just went looking for some kind of service that would do that for me. And I found MeetEdgar. And the thing, even though there's a lot of services that do something akin to that, what I like the most about MeetEdgar is the fact that you can create a queue and you can repeat posts periodically. And you can set it up to repeat pretty much as frequently or infrequently as you want. And you can only repeat some posts, and ones that you don't want to repeat, you can set them not to repeat. And that's actually a best practice for social media because most people, anytime you put something on Facebook, for instance, which is largely where I'm active, you only get about 10% to a third of your followers will actually see that one post. So posting more than one time is actually a best practice. So that's how I use MeetEdgar.
Yeah, your clients are lucky to have such great social media knowledge for them. So what Greg is referring to is the ability of Edgar to resurface your posts is truly what separates us from other tools. And this is just our way of showing you that you can actually produce more traffic to your site and get more brand awareness by doing less work. So putting in the time and effort to craft a really quality status update, knowing that it's going to have the mileage of getting out to people more than once. And when you're able to repeat a message, you're able to be seen as an expert in your industry, which builds trust, and trust is what buying is really powered by on social media. So I love that so much, that's one of the features that truly attracted you to the platform. So when you're talking about actually utilizing Edgar as a software, not to have to kind of onboard and offboard from losing time of creating your content, but you can sit down and do it all at once. Can you talk me through kind of your own content creation process of how you come up with status updates for your clients, how you sit down and make sure that what you're writing matches their brand voice and all of that stuff?
Yes. So most of my clients, I do a combination of posts about them, but that's usually maybe just 10 to 30%. And then I do posts about stories in the news that are topical, that relate to their work. Mm-hmm. And that's also a good thing to do, because you don't want to constantly be bragging about what you do, right? And nobody wants to see a commercial all the time. So my process is, in the course of my work, I'm constantly online. And when I run across stories that are appropriate for different clients, I save them. I save them to a folder. And then about once a month, usually, I will create, usually like one per day, like a set of 30 posts in a spreadsheet with my hashtags and all that. I usually will send them to my clients. They'll take a look at it. If there's anything that I think might be a little iffy, I might flag it for them. And then when they come back to me and they say, this looks good, then I upload it using the upload function on MeetEdgar, which makes it nice and quick. And at that point, then I go through after everything's uploaded and I check the images and I set the time frame. Some of them I want to post forever. If it's an evergreen thing that's really, it's going to be good forever, I don't really put an expiration date on it. Other things I might put repost for a year or 2 years. And sometimes I put just post once because I only want it to post once and we're done. And then I also, something else that I do in this upload process that I have just kind of stumbled into the system and it really has worked for me is I'm able to use all of the posts that I develop, or not all of them, but a subset of the posts that I develop for my clients as a marketing tool for my business on LinkedIn. So what I do is when I'm uploading these posts, I have certain categories for each of my clients that I also have a schedule in those categories for myself, for my own LinkedIn account. And when I'm uploading them and going through them one by one, the ones that I think are really the best ones or the most topical or most important to me, I will flag that and say, I want that to post on LinkedIn. And I also make an effort to set it up so that my clients' posts go out before mine do on LinkedIn. And so what happens is, and the way MeetEdgar is set up, it makes it very easy so that your posts don't all go out at the same time, which I think is better. And what's happened is over time, I've built up a pretty good network on LinkedIn. And I have literally had at least 4 times people approach me about jobs just out of the blue on LinkedIn. And, you know, it doesn't always pan out, but still it's kind of an amazing thing. And it's kind of fun too, because you get a sort of a community of people who have similar interests out there and you can kind of trade information and perspectives and whatnot. So I have found that that's very good for my clients and it's also very good for me.
Oh, I love that so much. Finding leads through LinkedIn is something that I feel like is very underutilized. And what Greg was referring to, Edgar, you're able to add your content and amplify it out to as many networks as you want without having to recreate that content and log into each network. So it saves you a lot of time while getting your message out into the world in more places, which just means the ability to get more eyes onto the mission that you're getting out there into the world. So when you create this content and when you're sending it out, can you talk me through how you utilize the schedule to kind of optimize the times of day you're sending things out and how you decide kind of what category of type of content you would like to go out at what time of day?
Mm-hmm. That's kind of a hit or miss, and MeetEdgar has helped me a little bit with that because I've noticed that every once in a while you guys will recommend a time slot. You'll say, oh, a Wednesday at 2:40, that's a good time slot for this content. And I don't know how you come up with that, but I usually put it in there. So for each client, I've sort of discovered that well, in general, you can I mostly operate in Facebook. So you can get a lot of data from Facebook. You can see when your clients, when the followers are mostly online. You can see the posts that are most popular, and you can kind of take a look at when they were posted. And so I use all that information sort of to play with it. And I have over time, at least for my clients, I've discovered that Fridays are generally good days for social media. It's the end of the week, people are checking in. Saturday morning is a really good time on LinkedIn for whatever reason, I don't know. And I just try and spread it out. And some clients I post every day, and other clients I might post just 2 or 3 times a week. And I just try and spread it out, and I try and pick different time slots. And part of that too is that if you have a lot of your audience on Facebook at peak times, you want to be there when they're there at peak times. But at peak times, you also have more competition because everybody else is out there at peak times. So you want to balance that maybe with putting some content out when it's not peak time.
That is so wise. And I love the experimental mindset that you're approaching with this. Even the way you started answering this question, saying it's hit or miss, that's what it's all about on social media, is trying to figure out what those hits really are going to be. Because we all know there's like 3,000 algorithm changes a year. We all know that our audience is constantly changing during this different seasons and what's going on in their personal lives. So taking this approach that you need to be experimenting to see not only what type of content is doing well, but what time of day it's doing well, and deciding kind of what the metrics are you are going to focus on to decide what a social media post success is. Is that going to be a like? Is that going to be a share? Is that going to be traffic to your site? So everyone's audience is a little bit different. And I'm so glad you use things like Facebook Insights in order to gain that information so that you can make sure you're serving your community in that way. So when you are on social media and you're engaging with followers, is there any tips that you can give to kind of get people to like a post or get people to comment or share more? Have you found anything that works well for you?
One thing that I would say across the board is that great photography. I mean, so I upload her to post a lot of video. That's something that I want to start doing more of. But what I have found across the board is that stunning photography really, really helps. People respond to a beautiful or a riveting image. One of the posts that I have consistently gotten huge feedback on, it's not beautiful at all. It's a close-up of a tick. And it's a post about how rattlesnakes and other snakes are really important for keeping down the tick population because they eat rodents, and rodents are huge carriers of a lot of ticks that carry Lyme disease and whatnot. So anyway, you know, you find out things like that from your analytics and from just sort of experimentation. That's one. I think another one, you can't always do this, obviously, but I think people are starved for good news. So whenever you can show good news or progress being made or great things happening, I think that people love that. They tend to really, really love that because so much of our news, I guess because of our reptilian brain, is focused on the bad stuff.
Yeah, I've noticed that too, is that inspirational, funny, good news natured stories are the ones that people like to engage with a lot for our brand as well. So I love that tip to kind of go across all different industries, as if you're not sharing kind of just some simple good news to brighten someone's day, give it a try, experiment with it, and make sure you're connecting with your followers in an emotional state where they're going to remember your brand as one that made them happy that day. So I love that tip so much. So you've been a wealth of information about just social media in general. And I'd love just to ask you to leave our community with either one more tip about how to use automation in your business or just about social media marketing in general that they could take action on and get inspired by today.
Well, I would say something that I'm doing is get more into video because it does seem like Facebook, at least, and probably this is the same with Instagram, I would guess, is they're looking for people to post more video. And I think it's because video is more popular. And it does seem like the algorithms are starting to favor video more as well. So, you know, it's a matter of keeping up with the times and keeping up with changes and always be willing to sort of adjust and hone what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's so smart. If you are someone who has not been brave about getting on video and who wants to start doing it, the best advice truly is just to jump on camera and connect with your followers as if you're having a conversation with them right in front of you and keep that social and social media. But I love that so much. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your great tips today. And if you guys out there in the Edgar community have any sort of feedback for what you took away from this video, leave it in the comments below and give it a like so that we can make sure this message gets out to more people. So you guys can connect and get your message out into the world. Thanks again, Greg.
Thank you.